So then once I do that, then I map out my key CMA pages. And for me, sequencing is very important. And I'm going to show you where I put those. A couple of things that I do to personalize is my cover page, I put in my cover page the address. You know, there's a customizable section. I put the address, the date of the appointment, because it's always important. I don't know who's doing it and who's not. My name, and then subsequently my contact info. My cell, my email, and my website. All three things are on that page. Then I take the tax record and I put it behind the property information, and the most recent sale on their binder, I put the most recent sale of that property. In my cheat sheet, my workbook, which I'll talk to you about in a minute, I put all of the sale information on the property. Then in the market analysis here, I just put the market information. So I'm putting RBI or RPR data in this section. And then pricing your home, the cover part of the pricing your home, which I'll show you in a minute, is the CMA. And then the back of that are the sold comps. All right? Let's look at what those look like. The local market insight report and the market stats, which are not an additional cost to you, they're part of your MRIS membership, has pretty much all the data that one needs to know to be successful in a listing presentation. Can we have more with RPR and other things? Can you pay the other $20 a year to go more in depth by community? Yes. But this allows us this allows you to look at region, this allows you to look at county, this allows you to look at zip code. And in some cases, inside the zip code, it allows you to look at some towns that have been separated in that zip code. In the local market insight, and then I pull it for the county and I pull it for the zip code of the property, of the subject property. In the local market, depending on the time of the year, I might use full year, prior year, or I might use the current month. Current month isn't really helpful because it's just such a narrow vision of what happened in the market. But for example, so now until the mid-year, I use full 2014, unless my story is told differently with new information. If you look at local market insights, typically people think that these are all monthly. It's December 2014, but everything is year-to-date underneath. And year-to-date is what you need. So don't think that only by paying the $20 extra for the year membership, you're getting the year-to-date data, because you're not. So again, and again, we're showing you today what are the tools available to you to have a successful listing presentation without going above and beyond yet. Can we? Sure. So what I love about this, I focus on, and this is where I spend a lot of time here, particularly in the year-to-date at the county level and then at the zip code level. Because the goal here is for you to show your seller, at the end of the day, what's important in these charts. What's important is, are we at pace with the market? Are we outperforming the market, or are we underperforming the market? And if so, why? So I spend a lot, like I said, 90% of my time is spent really looking at this information in depth so that I can then be prepared for any question a seller might have or any comment a seller might have. So I have this for the client, and then this is just my workbook that I show up with so that they see, hey, this person, by the way, has spent a lot of time. This book is all marked up. So this book has commentary, and then I'm a big fan of a yellow highlighter and a red pen. I mean, I should have been a teacher. So I have that highlighted and written throughout, and the same information that I have here, I put in here. And the specific pages that we discuss, I folded for them so that they know those are their go-to pages. After I leave, should they choose to look at it. And the comments are things like that. Negative inventory down versus prior year, new construction driving inventory, outpacing the market by an average of $10,000 per unit, days on market at pace or under pace with the county, list to sales price above national average. That is huge in the Northern Virginia market. Those numbers are in the 95% index for the rest of the country. We're at 97 and 98, which again goes back to, remember, you're going to be having a conversation about pricing later on with this client and how to price that property correctly. So yes, I do make some notes, and that's the only. I'm pretty paper free for the most part. I prefer to be that way. So that's the only thing I bring with me. And again, the reason I do that is so that they have another place to see, gee, this person's prepared. This person took their time. They studied this information. And then in the back I have from my previews, I have any properties that are active or under contract that I've visited or have sold. I have noted on there what the upgrades. Upgraded XYZ. And I do plus or minus to the subject. That way they're seeing, boy, she's really making the point of comparison here. All right? So those are the stats that go under that marketing page. Then here's the CMA. So then I go to the CMA once I've determined what is my time frame, my length of time. Typically for a listing presentation in given price points, it could be a year. In terms of what you want to get, what I want to give them is a snapshot of how that market has been during the ups and downs of seasons, because we don't know by what point we will be listed at. So by pulling 12 months rolling, I'm able to do that for a client. These are my 6 favorite. Again, there are tons to choose from, but you can get overwhelmed. And the last, if we can give you any piece of advice, is select your data. Once you know you figure out what those are, once you get comfortable with those pages, stick to them. You'll have enough information there to tell your story. It's very easy to get overwhelmed with a 75-page listing presentation on MRIS and then our 30-some page presentation. So I've chosen that these are the best for me because they allow me to tell my story. And the only difference between the CMA stats and the CMA summary is that the statistical is going to show you everything relative to original price versus everything relative to list price. So I look at those two separately. I start with my CMA stats. The CMA stats show me some really good information. It shows me what the highest house comp sold for, what the lowest sold for. It gives me an average. It also gives me an average days on market. It gives me an average seller subsidy. Key point is the seller subsidy. I need to know in my market if seller subsidy is 0 on an average, or is it 3, or is it 1.5? Because then I can have another little note that says underperforming your neighbor down the street at 20176. Or I can say, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, when we price the home, keep in mind we should have a cushion built in for X amount of seller subsidy. Anything we don't do with that is upside for us. So we're putting ourselves in a place where we are the expert and we're leading that conversation. And again, my goal is when I leave, that's my girl. No one else is going to represent me the way she does. That's my goal. So these are the ones that I use. This I just leave in there because people like to look at pictures, but I don't review it. What I focus my time on are the top 4. And then the map, again, some people are newer to their community or transient, so they may not know where the property is. So this just kind of gives them a quick snapshot of where the property is.